Welcome everyone to the Protoss Campfire here on Derelict Watcher in the MSL Season 2 Platinum Division Grand Finals. That's a giant mouthful of words. Getting into the game, we have the green Zerg player here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. He's down 0-2, but the last map was very close. And with this very open map, and the fact that he seems to prefer Ling Baneling a little bit, or Ling Muta, this could go really well for Balefire on this map, depending on how things play out. His opponent up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, the red Protoss, EQBisu. Bringing the noise 2 games in a row so far. He's going to be starting out with the same exact build that he's had before, some sort of an expand strategy. He's shown very much so that he's a favor of the Ini. As long as the Nexus is one of the first 2 buildings thrown down, he's fine. He only likes to have 2 Nexi, unless the games get into a 30-minute base race. So just keep that in mind. Something to know if you ever play against EQBisu in the future. But here it looks like everything's pretty standard. We have a very early scout from EQBisu. He wants to make sure that there is not any early pool. For instance, a 9 pool, a 10 pool, a 6 pool. Any of those numbers of pools, which surprisingly, they're all actually almost the same. Oh, 14. So still, pool hatch. Very interesting opening, especially not having seen him getting gas very early to use speed, which means that you can have additional, you can get earlier queens, you can do things like have Zerglings, but generally without speed they're a little bit less useful, especially in this matchup, as you can't really run18 from, or, you know, corner stalkers. So just really interesting play here. We're going to have a 18 Nexus out of EQBisu. If Balefire doesn't block it, ooh, he could have blocked it. We do have the hatchery going down for Balefire as well, and it looks like we're going to see a repeat, at least of the opening of every other game. The probe did get the first attack in. This drone, oh, the drone, hero drone. Check this out. Bam, like a boss. Get to go home and tell stories to all of its drone friends about how incredibly masculine he is. Not necessarily saying that to get kills you have to be masculine, but struggling to come up with right words. That's how I roll. Gateway coming up. Once again, very similar wall-off style. He is going to build a cannon here. Interesting placement on the cannon. It will be exposed to the front unless he decides to throw down a pylon there. I don't think there's quite enough space, but that will make a smaller gap that the Zealot has to fill. So just something interesting to note there. Everything else here, standard is as standard does. Nothing crazy going on across the map at this point in time. The one gas geyser is up and running. I'm surprised we don't have speed. Okay, speed. We got enough money for speed. Do speed. Upgrade it. I dare you. That's okay. If he doesn't want the gas for that, maybe he'll use it for something exciting like... Oh, there it goes. I was going to hope for something like Banelings. As a Baneling bus can actually work really well if there's no sentries out yet. And we know there's no sentries out yet because there's no cyber core. But I think it would be a little bit too late. It would be quite exciting, but probably ultimately not work out so well. I apologize to everyone for hearing the fact that I live underneath airplanes occasionally. So that's what you heard out there. It wasn't a giant dump truck this time. It was actually just an airplane, not a medevac, nothing crazy. Chrono boosting probes means that he's stayed exactly up to speed with his opponent. And I just really feel like Balefire, one of the big things here, you got to take this expansion earlier when you know your opponent can't do anything. With the Mothership Core, they could do something. EQBisu could, but EQBisu has shown that he does not like the Mothership Core for whatever reason. And so what that means is that you have free reign over the map until roughly 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes. And so I'd love to see that hatchery go down first to get some additional drones out, and then get all the other things. You have to play a little bit more defensive like that, usually. But that's what I'd like to see. And these Lings here, useful, but I think you could have done with a few less of them. 6 Lings. This could be done with 2 Lings, to be completely honest. Yeah, leave one here, leave one here. Heck, you can do another one here, but either way that would mean additional drones, and I think that's really what you've kind of been struggling with, as you have enough economy, kind of. You don't generally have enough larvae, kind of right when the big attack hits. Either that or you haven't teched enough, so it's either... I don't know. I'm an imperfect caster, let's just say that. Crazy Dark Zealots. They look like Sith, which is not altogether a bad thing if you're a fan of Star Wars. Also, I have no idea what that thing is. We're going to see some additional investment. The early robotics facility out of EQBisu means that we are going to see a lot more of those Immortals out this time. He's going to be investing in a much higher tech army. He's prioritizing those upgrades. This time he's going for smaller amounts of mass, but he wants all of that mass to pack a bigger punch. We do see the base going down and almost finishing up for Balefire. I just feel like this would have been a little bit better instead of this just barely getting done right when aggression can start happening. See, look, Warp Gate just finished. This base would already be up and functioning. You would have more creep spread. You'd have an additional queen, most likely. I really just feel like the earlier third base against a 2-basing Protoss is a good choice in the long run. But we'll see. We'll see. We have another gateway coming down, so we're going to be up to, what is that, 5, 6 buildings? I can never remember the keyboard shortcut for buildings. Structures, T, right. Structures. 1 gateway. 2, I can't read that. That's not useful to me, Blizzard. Things shouldn't be underneath the nameplate. Is he going to go for another expansion? Is he going to go? Oh my goodness. EQBisu throwing off the metagame for this series. He's going to be throwing down that base. He's going to be playing passive for much longer. That's why we didn't see those additional gateways that we've usually been seeing out. He's instead been going for more of those tech units, wants to be very defensive. Notice the number of sentries. We have 4 sentries, 2 Immortals, 2 Zealots, and a Stalker to defend 3 Nexi. That's not very many. We have a Scouting Phoenix here, going to try to see what the heck is going on. We have another Macro Hatch. Not that surprised to see that. We do see all the Gas Geysers taken. So far we're seeing basically the exact same thing that we've seen in the previous games, which once again, I'm happy for that. It's always kind of sad to see a player abandon their build that they've worked so much on. Oh, excellent scouting here. I think he's actually going to get this cancel as there's not anything here. Ooh, okay, I thought for a minute he was just going to go counter. It's going to be close. I think he can force the cancel. I think he can do it. I think he can do it. Yep, there it goes. Cancel. Excellent. Those Zerglings are well worth their cost. Although they can't cost as much as the other base there. What that means is that EQBisu is now behind. That's exactly what that means. He doesn't have the production capacity to spend very much money. He's only got those few gateways. Now he's getting some more. He wants to wall off, but he also needs to have some way to spend his money. He's got a lot of it building up. He was hoping to get additional income so then he could start laying down more of that production stuff. As of right now, that's just not happening. So in the meantime, EQBisu is being forced to attack. Balefire should know that. He should know that he needs to build a whole bunch more units. He's got a lot of overhead. He just needs to build the units. 14 mutas on the way. Could be useful against this. There's no... Okay, there is a proxy pylon here. Good engagement here. The pylons. Force fields here pretty good. Some of the Zealots getting a little bit hasty, making their way through. And I think they're going to do quite a bit of damage here. And my goodness, is EQBisu going to make this work again? What else is in production? There are the mutas. The mutas can come down. The Guardian Shield should be thrown down immediately. Okay, there goes the Guardian Shield. Here comes the Warping of Stalkers. And I think that these mutas will not be enough to deal with this high Stalker count. He needs to focus fire him down. There's no more Guardian Shield. He needs to focus fire all the Stalkers. If he can get the Stalkers, everything else is going to be easy peasy and should retreat, but I don't think he will with the additional Warpins. Now that these 2 gateways are up, he has the ability to spend that money, and it looks like EQBisu is going to make another miracle happen here. Engaging in the choke with all the Zealots in the back is not ideal, but for it's actually really good for Balefire right here, as all these mutas are being able to really hammer down those Immortals, and without the Immortals, this is much less scary. The closer reinforcement path, excellent job. He's got to re-heal these mutas, but I don't think there's going to be any way that he can pull this off. There's 16 more Lings in production, 5 more mutas. But with those Immortals there and all those Zealots, I just don't think there's any way that this can happen. Samuta's just getting drive-by. Oh, that's so painful. Another game. Another loss. That's got to be frustrating. Ooh, close to timing. Okay. I feel like that was a pretty good game. I feel like Balefire, you did an excellent job canceling this. First of all, scouting that this was happening. EQBisu has not done that yet. Scouting that could happen, seeing that it was going to happen, and then getting it canceled. That was great. I feel like maybe perhaps should have anticipated the counter that was going to happen there, as he knew once that this had been killed or had been canceled, he was a little bit behind, and so he had to counterattack to keep things in balance. And it turns out the counterattack, I think he just caught you droning. So anyway, we're going to see where this goes, but now we have EQBisu up 3-0 in this best of 7, so this next game could be match point. We'll find out here in a bit.